Alright everybody, so we're actually here at Aldi. We're going to be going through how to properly grocery shop. And it might not be the exact same for you, but these are the strategies that I use that we're going to be trying encouraging at least a little bit for you to use. The first thing that you'll always want to have when you go to a grocery store, and this is said tongue-in-cheek, but it's absolutely true, don't go in hungry. If you haven't eaten yet, or it's been a long day and you're heading right after work, at least grab a glass of water and something like a protein bar before you head in, because hungry you makes bad decisions. Second thing is, I don't personally like to come in with an actual list. I like to go in with just an idea of what I want to make, where maybe, I'm gonna make chicken, or I'm gonna make pork, or I'm gonna make salmon, or I know that I'm low on vegetables at a certain point. So I like to go in with a general theme, but I have a game plan of when I go in. So it's different for every person, but have a plan before you go in. So let's go check it out. And one of the things you will always want to notice when you're at a grocery store is shop the perimeters. If you can stay outside, because that's where they're going to put most of the stuff that's refrigerated, which means it's fresh, which means it doesn't have a lot of preservatives in it. So stay around the perimeter. First thing you'll notice when you come to the North Ankeny Aldi's, you're going to see a lot of produce right away. You'll also see, again, the refrigerated section on the left. You'll see the non-refrigerated section over here. So the stuff you want to stay with is something on this side for the most part, because you know that it's going to be something that's actually fresh. One thing that's different about Aldi that you're going to get that's than a Hy-Vee or a Fairway is they're going to give you stuff in a lot more bulk. So if you're going to buy something, make the decision whether or not, if you can get a package of broccoli that's this big in the fresh section, are you going to actually eat that? So have a game plan, and yes, that's fine, but if you're going to be going to actually eat that much spinach by yourself, great, go for it. But if you're going to need to actually get that in the frozen section, that's totally fine. But again, have a game plan with what you actually want to get. So we've made it past the produce section, and we've made our way to where breads are, again, trying to stay in the perimeter. Now there's also ways to make good decisions on bread, make good decision on grains. One, try and reduce the amount of bread that you're actually eating. It shouldn't be 3 slices with every meal. But if you are going to be eating bread, looking at the labels, you can tell one has more of a health feel than the other, but that's not necessarily the important part. The important part is if you flip it over, if you look at the length of the ingredients list, this one starts with words that are actually real. So sprouted whole wheat, flax, gluten, or wheat, gluten, organic cane sugar. Granted, they're not the best ingredients, but you can at least pronounce them and they're natural. If you look over here, you've got much thiamine mononitrate. You've got a lot more chemically enhanced stuff. And so if you're going to pick a bread or going to pick a product, read the labels, and just generally speaking, rule of thumb, if you can't pronounce what's in the food, you probably don't need it. Here's another example of making good decisions versus making a little bit kind of impulse decisions. And so if you look at these two, they don't look all that different. One is freeze-dried, one is just dried mangoes. Well, freeze-dried, really what that does is they take the fruit and they just, at some point, they just sap the moisture out of it and they're drying it out. So if you look again at the ingredients list, freeze-dried mango, the ingredients are mango. That's it. A dried mango, the ingredients are mango plus a bunch of sugar. So what they're going to do with these is they're going to throw sugar in this as they dry it out, and this is the stuff that makes its way into trail mix. So if you're going to pick nuts and fruits that are dried as snacks, try and stay something to be more of the natural, just where it just says cashews, where it's halves and pieces. There's just nothing. It is dried, salted. So check the ingredients list again to see if it says anything other than what the dried fruit actually is. Okay, now here's the biggest test. This is the dangerous zone of walking through a grocery store, seeing all of these. There's a point to making each one of these as enticing as they possibly can. Throw your blinders on. If you're trying to come in here for a week's worth of groceries, none of this stuff is necessary for your week. This is all the stuff that you enjoy eating, it's all the stuff that you comfort eat, it's all the stuff that you don't actually really need. So what you're getting here is something that's going to be a temptation. If you are going to have these for your cheat meal, totally fine. But don't buy them with your grocery trip, because your grocery trip is for food. This is not food. These are snacks and treats. Okay, we're in the protein section now. And again, we were talking with produce. Make the decision of whether or not you're going to eat it now or you're going to eat it later. The great news with this section here is that you actually can freeze most of what you get. So you can buy 10 of these and throw 8 of them in your freezer and eat 2. But something like this, where it's going to be a fresh piece of fish, it's a great decision to get something like this, or it's a great decision to get something that's actually unseasoned, that's going to be, that you'll get and cook yourself. But if you want to get these, you can, again, buy 2, throw 8 in the freezer. But as you head down, making your food decisions, and we'll go more into this once we actually get during the class, stay towards the top shelves. Your bottom shelves are going to be your higher fat content. So specifically, if you're tracking your macros, something that's 80% lean with 20% fat, you'll actually need to count this as fat. anything north of 90%, so a 93% lean ground beef. This is going to be leaner, and that fat is negligible. Your body will get rid of it without actually absorbing much of it. So your fat content in a piece of in ground beef is going to be a lot easier if you get a higher content. So they'll stack those low to high at almost any single grocery store. So look for the top shelf options, because that's not metaphorically, that's legitimately the top shelf options are better. Now as we head towards chicken, there is, again, labeling is easy to see. There's a point with what they're going for. But if you're to get 2 chicken breasts of this size, chickens don't grow this big. This is not a natural size chicken. Something's been pumped into this chicken to probably sit there for a really long time, and there's a lot of fat content. There's gonna be some type of antibiotic in here that's not good for you to eat. Whereas chicken breasts of this size, if you can see the size difference, they're significantly more natural looking. So even if it might not be a true to form organic free range, this brand is never any or the never added or organic free range chicken is always the better option. And again, you can buy these and freeze a ton of them. When I come grocery shopping, I buy at least 6 or 7 packages of this and throw it in my freezer. Okay, when we were talking about stay out of the aisles, is if you're shopping in the perimeter, you're gonna get fresh food. If you look from aisle to aisle, you have sugar, cereal sugar, maple syrup sugar, sugar. Down this way you have more sugar snacks. You have in the aisles, sugar chips. You have more sugar juice with different sugar juice. And then you have not food. You don't need to buy any hampers. But if you're going to get through the aisle, if you're going to shop at a grocery store, try and stay on the perimeter, because the stuff in the middle is going to be laden with stuff that doesn't need to actually stay cold or stay treated to stay good. If you leave a box of cereal unopened and it can stay healthy for 4 months, it's probably not something that you need to be eating. Okay, now we're in the frozen section. Again, you've made the decision whether you want fresh produce or protein or frozen produce or protein. That's fine. One of the things that I like to use the frozen section for are stuff that I'm kind of gamble on a recipe that I'm not really sure if I'm going to eat soon or not. So something like shrimp or crab legs. I like these foods, but it's not a regular staple in my diet. It's not something every lunch I'm going to have some kind of shrimp. But it's something, because it is frozen, it's a relatively natural food. But the way they're keeping it fresh is by keeping everything, again, on ice. So if you're not sure if you're going to use shrimp, or you're not sure if you're going to use crab legs, you're not sure if you're going to use some other form, you can buy that, freeze it, and it stays good for longer until you go, you know what, I think I am going to make that gumbo that I wasn't sure if I was going to make, and you actually can pull that out of the recipe box. Thank you for going on the grocery trip to Aldi's with us. If you followed, again, just suggestions of what we're doing, it doesn't necessarily need to be prescriptive, but have a game plan, don't go in hungry, follow a few simple rules, read in the back of labels, go shopping on the outside. You should make good decisions that will make some food, prep some meals, eat healthy.